Imagine a doll, not just any doll, but one that moves and talks on its own accord. Picture this. It was a chilly Halloween night when a family, eager to bring joy to their little daughter, stumbles upon an antique doll. Its porcelain skin, glassy eyes, and a Victorian-era dress gave it an air of timeless elegance. Little did they know they were bringing home much more than a plaything. As days turned into weeks, the family began to notice peculiar happenings. The doll, once static and lifeless, started to show signs of autonomy. It shifted positions, seemingly on its own, moving from room to room, always finding its way back to the little girl's side. The daughter claimed that the doll whispered to her at night, sharing stories of a time long past. The family dismissed it as the vivid imagination of a child, but the disturbances in their home grew more frequent, more unsettling. Items went missing, only to be found in the doll's possession. Doors creaked open and shut in the dead of night. Whispers echoed through the hallways, growing louder with each passing day. The once cheerful home was now shrouded in an aura of dread and unease. Determined to uncover the truth, the family delved into the doll's history. Their search unveiled a chilling revelation. The doll was once owned by a spirited woman from the Victorian era whose untimely demise left her spirit restless. The doll, her most cherished possession, became her tether to the mortal world. Her spirit possessed the doll, seeking companionship, reliving her past, causing the very disturbances that plagued the family. With a newfound understanding, the family placed the doll in a glass case, hoping to contain its activities. The disturbances ceased, and the home returned to normalcy. To this day, the doll sits in a glass case, still as can be, but who knows when it will decide to move again. Halloween is a time for treats, but what happens when an uninvited guest shows up at your door? Imagine this. A couple, let's call them John and Jane, enjoying the festive spirit of Halloween. The doorbell rings, followed by the expected chorus of "Trick or Treat." A small figure stands at the doorstep, face hidden behind a ghoulish mask. Not a neighbor's child, no one they recognize, but it's Halloween, right? So they give the child some candy and send him on his way. Night after night, however, the same masked trick-or-treater returns. Halloween has long since passed, but the child continues to appear, his outstretched hand always expecting a treat. The couple grows nervous. Who is this child? Why does he keep returning? In their search for answers, John and Jane stumble upon a chilling discovery. The child, it turns out, had lived in their neighborhood, but not recently. His life was cut tragically short several years ago in a heartbreaking accident. The mask he wore, they learned, was the same one he had worn on his last Halloween. Now, the couple saw their persistent visitor in a new, eerie light. It wasn't just a child playing a prolonged prank. It was the spectral continuation of a Halloween tradition cut cruelly short. The realization sent shivers down their spines. They could no longer stay in the house. So, they packed their belongings and moved away, leaving behind the persistent memory of their uninvited guest. But the story doesn't end there. Whispers around town say that the child still shows up every Halloween, standing at the doorstep, waiting for his treat. The couple moved away, but they say that every Halloween, the uninvited trick-or-treater still knocks on the door of that house. The tale of the uninvited trick-or-treater serves as a chilling reminder that Halloween is not just a night of treats and costumes, but also of lingering spirits and unresolved pasts. A pumpkin patch is a fun place during the day, but at night it can turn into a haunting ground. That's precisely what happened to a farmer who lived on the outskirts of a sleepy town. Now, this wasn't just any farmer. This was a man who had sown and reaped pumpkins on his land for decades. His pumpkin patch was known far and wide for its vibrant orange globes that seemed to beam with life. Yet every year, as the calendar pages flipped closer to Halloween, something eerie began to unfold. In the hush of the night, a ghostly figure started to emerge from the shadows, wandering aimlessly amidst the rows of pumpkins. This spectral entity was believed to be the ghost of a former worker on the farm, a young man who had tragically lost his life in a harvesting accident many years ago. As the tale goes, every night leading up to Halloween, this apparition would appear, tracing the same path across the pumpkin patch before vanishing into the darkness. The farmer, a sturdy man not easily spooked, initially dismissed these sightings as tricks of the light or figments of his overworked imagination. But as the sightings grew more frequent and the figure's features became more distinct, he could no longer ignore the chilling reality. The ghostly figure was indeed the young worker who had once toiled on his land. The farmer, now a firm believer in the spectral presence, decided to pay his respects in his own way. Each year on the eve of Halloween, he would leave a lit jack-o'-lantern at the edge of the pumpkin patch, a beacon for the wandering spirit to find its way. While the ghostly figure continues to haunt the pumpkin patch, the farmer has made an unspoken pact with the spirit. He still grows his pumpkins, nurturing them from seed to fruit, his patch shining brightly under the autumn sun. But as the sun dips below the horizon, he retreats to the safety of his home, leaving the patch to its ghostly inhabitant. The farmer still grows his pumpkins, but he never steps foot in the patch after sunset. A Halloween costume is meant to be scary, but what if the costume itself is haunted? Now that's a chilling thought, isn't it? Well, brace yourselves as we delve into the eerie tale of a young boy who discovered an old Halloween costume in his attic. On a gloomy autumn afternoon, the boy, let's call him Timmy, stumbled upon an old, dusty trunk in the far corner of his attic. Packed away in this trunk was a Halloween costume, an antiquated jester outfit. It was worn and tattered, but something about it captivated Timmy. Little did he know he was about to invite an unwelcome guest into his life. As soon as Timmy donned the jester costume, strange things began to happen. At night, his dreams turned into vivid, terrifying nightmares. He dreamt of a man dressed as a jester, his face painted with a gruesome smile. The jester would perform, but his tricks were not of joy, they were of horror. The dreams were so vivid, so real, that Timmy would wake up screaming, his heart pounding in his chest. The nightmares weren't the only thing. Timmy began to see the jester in his waking hours too. He would catch glimpses of him in the corner of his eye, hear his haunting laughter echo in his ears. It was as though the jester had crossed over from his dreams into his reality. Terrified and desperate, Timmy's parents dug into the history of the costume. They discovered it belonged to a distant relative, a man known for his jesting and merriment. He had met a tragic end, his life cut short in a gruesome accident during one of his performances. The jester costume he wore that night was the very same one that Timmy had found in the attic. The costume was promptly destroyed, a decision met with an eerie silence that hung heavily in the air. The nightmares and hallucinations ceased, but the memory of the haunted Halloween costume etched itself into Timmy's mind. The costume was destroyed, but the boy will never forget the Halloween when he wore the haunted costume. These stories may send chills down your spine, but remember, they are just stories. Or are they? We've journeyed through 4 tales of terror, each a chilling testament to the uncanny events that can occur on Halloween night. Let's take a moment to revisit these stories and the icy tendrils of fear they've sent creeping up our spines. Remember the tale of the Night of the Living Doll, a seemingly innocent toy that brought with it an eerie presence, its eyes seeming to follow you around the room, its giggle echoing in the dark corners of the night. A harmless plaything turned into a sinister entity that refused to be ignored. Then there was the Uninvited Trick-or-Treater, a spectral figure that struck fear into the hearts of those who dared to open their doors. It served as a grim reminder that not all guests on Halloween come seeking candies and sweets. Some come bearing frights and chills instead. We also delved into the ghost of the pumpkin patch, a spectral entity bound to the very essence of Halloween. This tale bore witness to the eerie happenings that can occur amidst the rows of ripened pumpkins under the watchful eye of the moon. Lastly, we recounted the haunting tale of the haunted Halloween costume, a garment that seemingly possessed a life of its own. The line between costume and reality blurred, demonstrating the terrifying potential of what's supposed to be a night of fun and scares. These stories are a testament to the chilling allure of Halloween, a night where the veil between our world and the next is at its thinnest. So as we conclude our journey, we invite you to share your own true Halloween horror stories. After all, everyone has a tale to tell, a shadow lurking in their past, a chill they can't quite shake. Thank you for joining us on this chilling journey. Sleep tight and remember, don't let the bedbugs bite.